Hey there. If you've got a cat, you already know who's really in charge, right? They're the little furry kings and queens of the castle. But have you ever stopped and tried to see your home through their eyes? That's exactly what we're going to do today.
It's a really simple question, but it's a big one. Think about it. Our homes are built for us, for our comfort. And our cats? Well, they just kind of have to make it work, don't they? And that process, just adapting to our world, can actually be pretty stressful for them.
And that stress, it pops up in ways you've probably seen. The shredded couch corner, the cat that's always hiding under the bed. Those aren't just bad cat behaviors. Feline experts tell us these are actually signals. Your cat is trying to tell you something's not quite right in their world.
But here's the great news. You don't have to tear down walls or spend a fortune to make your cat happier. Seriously. It's all about making small, smart changes. So let's jump in and look at 9 really simple ways to make your home a place your cat will absolutely love.
All right, let's get into it. The number one thing, the absolute foundation for a happy cat, is feeling safe and secure. So our first couple of tips are all about that, giving them that sense of control over their own space.
And a huge part of that feeling of safety, as feline behavior consultant Jennifer Vendikiv says, comes from getting up high. It makes total sense, right? Being up high gives them a great view of everything happening, so they can watch their world without feeling vulnerable. And that brings us to this big idea, vertical space. This isn't just about your cat having something to climb. When you add shelves or a cat tree, you're actually making their world bigger. You're giving them more territory. For a cat, it's literally like you've added a whole new room onto the house. So tip number 1 is pretty straightforward. Give them a way to get up. A tall, solid cat tree is the classic go-to. Or you could mount some shelves on the wall to create what some people call a cat highway, so they can get around the room without even touching the floor. Heck, even a simple window perch or just clearing off the top of a bookshelf can make a world of difference. Just make sure whatever you choose is wide enough for them to actually snooze on, not just a tiny little ledge.
Okay, so going up is important. But you know what's just as important? Having a place to hide. Every single cat needs their own little safe spot, A place they can just disappear to when things get a little too much, or when they just want to be left alone.
And that's our second tip. Create those safe zones. And this is where it gets really easy. I'm talking about a simple cardboard box. That's it. Or try leaving their carrier out with a comfy blanket inside so it feels less like a trap and more like a cozy cave. The trick is to put these hideouts in quiet spots away from all the foot traffic. Oh, and if you've got more than one cat, it's super important they each have their own private spot so there's no fighting over them. All right, so your cat feels safe. What's next? Well, now they need to be a cat. This next part is all about enrichment, which is just a fancy word for letting them do their natural cat stuff. Hunting, exploring, and yep, scratching. Let's talk about scratching. This has to be one of the biggest misunderstandings about cats. They are not trying to ruin your new sofa just to annoy you, I promise. It's a fundamental need for them. It's how they stretch, mark their territory, and keep their claws healthy. So the goal here is never to stop them from scratching, but to get them to scratch the right things.
So that leads us to tip number 3. Give them options. You've got your vertical posts, which are great because they're like a tree trunk and let your cat get a really good stretch. Then you've got the horizontal ones, like those flat cardboard pads. Older cats sometimes prefer these, and they're also great for a quick nap. The best bet, honestly, just offer both and let your cat tell you which one they like best.
And tip number 4 is all about making sure they actually use the scratchers. First, make sure it's big and sturdy. No one wants to use a wobbly post. Second, and this is a big one, put it where your cat actually hangs out, not tucked away in a spare room. And finally, you can sprinkle some catnip on it to make it more attractive, but please never, ever grab their paws and force them to scratch it. That'll just make them hate the thing. I love this quote from feline behaviorist Lucas Silva. It just hits the nail on the head. He says, trapping a cat in an apartment with no windows is like forcing a surveillance expert to live in a basement. It perfectly explains why a window view is so critical for an indoor cat. It's their TV, their internet, their connection to everything. Which brings us to tip number 5. Give them a window seat. And get this, the effect is actually measurable. One study found that just by adding a window perch, stress-related behaviors dropped by 40%. 40%! That is a massive payoff for something so simple. It's like cat TV, and it really, really works.
Okay, so to keep things interesting inside the house, here's tip number 6, the toy rotation. It's super simple. Instead of having every toy they own scattered on the floor, just keep a few out at a time. Then, once a week, put those away and bring out a new batch from storage. This keeps them from getting bored and makes old toys feel brand new again. It's a great way to keep their little hunter brains engaged. Okay, last section. Let's talk about the details of daily life. These are the things that might seem small to us, but for a cat, a creature of routine and comfort, they're absolutely huge.
First up, the thing nobody loves to talk about, the litter box. And for tip number 7, I want you to remember this one golden rule. It's called the N+1 rule. It sounds a bit mathy, but it's super simple, and it can prevent so many issues down the line.
Here's how it works. You need 1 litter box for every cat you have, plus 1 more. So, got 1 cat? You need 2 boxes. 2 cats? 3 boxes. It just cuts down on any stress or competition. And that flows right into tip number 8. Think about where you put them. They need to be in quiet, low-traffic areas. And please put them far away from their food and water bowls. I mean, you wouldn't want to eat in your bathroom, right? Neither do they.
And our final tip, number 9, is all about one of life's simplest pleasures, a warm nap. Cats are basically little heat-seeking missiles, so giving them a warm, cozy spot to curl up is one of the kindest and easiest things you can do for them.
So how do you do it? Well, it can be as easy as tossing a soft blanket in that patch of sun that hits the floor every afternoon. You know the one. For an older cat, a vet-approved heated pad can be a real game changer, especially for stiff joints. Really, the best way is just to watch them. Where do they already like to nap? Find that spot and just make it better. A little cozier, a little softer.
So there you have it, 9 tips covering everything from safety to fun to just plain comfort. And as you can see, none of this requires you to remodel your entire house. It's really just about 1 or 2 small changes that can have a huge impact. And that's the heart of it, really. Making your home truly cat-friendly isn't about buying expensive stuff. It's about empathy. It's about pausing for a second and trying to imagine what the world looks like from their point of view. A world that's all about territory, safety, and instinct. So I'll leave you with this one question. Just look around your home right now. What's one small thing you could do today to make your cat's life just a little bit better? Maybe it's just grabbing an empty box from the recycling or clearing some clutter off a windowsill. Whatever it is, give it a try. You might be surprised by how they react. Thanks so much for joining me, and if this was helpful, I'd love it if you'd subscribe for more.